Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Witty Comic Book Roundup. We've covered this week's Marvel books, and now it's on to this week's Batman books. We actually had much more. We had a significantly larger number of DC books this week than Marvel. I'm not sure if it was just that's how the cookie crumbled. After all, last month saw the end of Devil's Reign, so a lot of that's no longer, Plus, looks like Spider-Man's back on Amazing Spider-Man's back on monthly, so as opposed to thrice monthly. And we had the end of Spider-Woman. So yeah. But anyway, moving on, getting started. We've got Batgirls number 6. Where we left off, Cass and Steph had discovered that. That Charles Dante was working with an old beau of Barbara Gordon's, was working with Tudor, while Tudor was once again trying to brainwash all of Gotham, most of Gotham, from Arkham Asylum. So, but of course, it was the connection between Dante and Tudor was found too late for Barbara, as she had gone to check in with Dante and had been captured. Apparently, Dr. Dante does a form of art therapy, and Babs takes him on, and of course he figures since she's restrained to a chair that she can't do anything, not knowing that she's kind of in her element. Meanwhile, Steph is faced with face to face with Tudor, who wants to use tried to use electroshock on her, while Cass is dealing with the masses outside, brainwashed and seemingly led by the reporter, who Cass saves, and Batgirls work together to take down Tudor, while Barbara manages to take down Charles Dante, who had taken the nom de crime of Spellbinder. Information is put out to the world via Oracle, and Tudor's got a bomb, but Steph takes it, throws it in the Bondo, and drives into the bay, and as the car explodes. We're led to believe in the following few panels that Steph died, but she survived. The car was destroyed. But the Batgirls kind of, have a little group hug, an aggressive group hug with Cass in the center. But however, they've been tracked down by Seer. Who needs the Batgirl's help? And that is where the issue ends. First off, I'm glad to see that this is not a miniseries. I was kind of worried for a while that it was. Admittedly, the solicits for coming months did kind of assuage my fear a little, but still, it felt like maybe there was kind of a, yeah, this is just a mini, but no, it's an ongoing. So, um, and we're finally getting Seer and Oracle are finally face to face. So yeah, that should be interesting to see where things go. The first arc was strong. Really kind of played off the relationships between the three Batgirls. So, but anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Batman Urban Legends number 15. Kind of love this cover. I have to admit, I'm not Riley Rossmo's biggest fan on Harley, but some of the cover work he's done, kind of makes me think that maybe I'd probably enjoy his work on with another character. Plastic Man, for example, I'm fairly certain I would love a Plastic Man book drawn by Rossmo, but yeah. So we've got our handful of stories. We've got part 5 of Bound to Our Will with Batman and Zatanna. We've got a Batman Plastic Man story, part 2 of a 3-part Birds of Prey story, and part 5 of the Ace the Bat Hound Hounded story. So starting off with Bound to Our Will, where we left off, Bruce had ended up on the other side of a mystical portal along with John Constantine. But we open up with some flashbacks. Falling outs between Batman and Zatanna from the past, but at Batman's safe house, one of their two new mystical foes arrives. Only it's Batman possessing them. And basically able to have a bit of a go between for Constantine and Zatanna. But dude gets loose. Batman and Constantine talk about Batman and Zatanna's history, and Batman confides in Constantine. He's afraid that at multiple points he's really screwed things up, and Constantine tells him, "Yeah, but she's still there she's still willing to be there for you. So you didn't screw that badly." But Zatanna goes after the two beings responsible for everything, and basically managed to binding. On one side of things, you've got Constantine and Batman going after him, and Zatanna going on the other side, and their true forms are revealed to Batman and Constantine. Constantine volunteers to go after the ugly one, and with Zatanna helping on the material plane, and that's where that ends. Next up, we've got Bending the Rules. Batman's on the trail of a witness who's going to testify against Penguin. When Plastic Man stops Batman, asking for a favor. Turns out that this guy used to be an old buddy from the old life from Plastic Man's old life. For those unaware, Plastic Man used to be a criminal, a small-time criminal. Then he got powers, and he was apparently turns out he was already planning to get out of the life. But yeah. But Penguin hires KG Beast to go after this witness, and Plastic Man tells Batman of the first time they encountered one another, which is not when Batman thought it was. apparently, Pla- Eel O'Brien was working on, was being recruited for a job in Gotham, and a tourist bus that he was on in fact, with the witness, was hijacked by the Joker when Batman showed up, saved the day, and yeah. So, Plastic Man kind of says, "Hey, as a favor to me, would you, give this guy a chance?" But then KG Beast attacks. Plastic Man and Batman take down Beast, and Batman's not going to bring the guy in, but it is suggested that he turn himself in. That is where the story ends. Next up, we've got Memory Lane Part 2. Where we left off here are Birds of Prey, Lady Shiva, Ghost, Miracle Molly, and Katana. We're investigating a new app called, well, Memory Lane. And we get some information about the app, but the quartet have found someone who appears to be somewhat responsible, or responsible for kind of making the app feasible, and so yeah. But it appears everyone's got their own agenda, and so, which means there's a lack of trust. Also, the app apparently has some negative side effects, like a good memory can suddenly turn very dark. A representative from the company putting out the app is handing out smartphones to the unhomed community that Ghost is a part of. But someone's saying maybe Ghost wouldn't be too keen on us taking these. And we find out that Katana's entire plan revolves around stopping Lady Shiva, which is where part 2 of that ends. Next, finally, we've got Hounded, part 5, where we left off. Ace the Bat Hound and some other and some other animals had escaped and were making their way to seemingly to save Batman. But we get a little bit of background on Ace. Apparently 5 years ago, a gentle, nice old man responded to an ad about some free puppies. Picked one out, took him home, to where he lived in one of the Wayne Tower projects. But then the Joker showed up. Apparently the guy's guy used to work for Joker as witness protection. Well, but Joker gives the dog a chance to live, and in fact gives him the name Ace. But the henchman of Joker, the henchman and Ace's brief owner are both killed. And it appears to be just kind of the henchman was shot by and ended up stabbing the guy who shot him, and so yeah. But our animals are making their way to where Batman is being held. I remember actually reading that this, in many ways, and to me, I have to agree, it feels very similar in some ways to the Grant Morrison, Frank Quietly, We 3 story. Elsewhere, the Russian mafia is running various pit fights, but everyone agrees that they want Batman. But the bidding begins. But the Joker makes an excellent point. None of us know who Batman is, so you can't just take off his mask and say it's really him. So they need proof. And so the test of combat. Once again, Lex Luthor is sent out. The chicken of the animals is sadly killed. And Lex seems to side with Ace and crew. And there's the various costume criminals have some objections to Batman being made to, prove he's Batman in a test of combat because, well, they could use a ringer, Except that his opponent is the bear from the earlier parts. And that is where the issue ends. I'm liking the We Three aspect of Hounded. Batman and Constantine working together is interesting. To be complete, as much as I do enjoy the character of John Constantine as well as the character of Batman, yeah, I wouldn't see the two of them working together well at all. But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got I Am Batman, number 9. Where we left off, Batman, Luke Fox, or not Luke Fox, but Jace Fox had been actually had faced this artist murderer and was beaten by him. He feels humiliated and beats on an armed suspect until a gang hitter, and but he's stopped. Meanwhile, Vol is trying to buy a secure property largely described as being basic upscale bomb shelter. However, Vol's Russian background is proving a bit of a hindrance as Russians, oligarchs, you just hear stories. The mayor is still dealing with the fallout of some rather disturbing texts and DMs that have come up from the late New York Police Commissioner. Chubb finds one of the officers loyal to the commissioner in her office, pulling up files on the computer. Chubb and Batman talk in Chinatown, with Batman asking if Chubb feels threatened by Detective Keenan. And she explains that he was pulling up their files on her computer, which kind of makes it seem like he's trying to get a jump on finding whoever murdered the commissioner. But Chubb wants to bring the killer in. Keenan wants to kill the criminal, or wants to kill the murderer, but Batman is like, he's not sure there are that many options. Then, while watching his sister go through physical therapy, he's he's dealing with just trying to figure everything out. But he meets with his friend Hadia, and he lies to her, telling her that he's working on a project with his mother, and getting in part of trying to figure out who killed the commissioner. They but with everything about it leads to Hadia taking Jace to Mona, showing him surrealist art. Kind of a hey, this guy wants to be seen as an artist. Well, the type of art appears to be more surrealist, so let's look at surrealist art. And so, but it seems like our artist has his next victim or his next project in mind. Meanwhile, Jace's slightly older sister is trying to figure out what to do because she could stay going to school in Gotham just as easily as in New York. So her mom suggests maybe come to the job training center. Jace is trying to tell Wall that him and Hadia are kind of his team. But Jace gets the profile out to Chubb and her squad. Knock on doors, interview suspects. If someone won't talk, surveil them. Apparently this guy's the killer's taking over abandoned artist lofts. Find those lofts and search them. Two of the members of the strike team find at least one loft, and it looks like they found something big. Batman and Chubb show up, but it turns out one of the members of Chubb's team is working with Detective Keenan, and explains that and lets Keenan know that the team found something. But they're now beginning to question. Batman and Chubb begin to question things as Killer seems to be going after corrupt leaders, and yet his next target seems to be none other than Mayor Villanueva. And Chubbs points out that if the mayor's dirty, then her and Batman are screwed. That is where the issue ends. I am Batman moving to New York is definitely making for an interesting storyline. I'm digging it. As much as I like the idea of having him operating out of Gotham as kind of a more small scale Batman and becoming a part of the Bat family, at the same time, I like him kind of cultivating his own thing elsewhere. I think that works a lot better. Moving on to our next book, though, we've got Future State Gotham, number 13. Some plot points had occurred before this. Dick Grayson, Nightwing, is taking a substance known as Brain, which is kind of like Venom, but on a more but for mental acuity. Taking enough of it can potentially give one prophetic visions. The reason that he's doing this is in the hopes of trying to find Damien. Talia has learned of this and wishes to help. So, we open with a flashback to the ending of the Future State Dark Detective primary arc. Bruce Wayne duking it out with Peacekeeper 01 as Peacekeeper's headquarters blows up. Now, one interesting thing to note is that this this issue actually gives us a timeline for some of the Future State miniseries from the beginning of last year, namely Dark Detective and Catwoman. In the Catwoman miniseries, she hijacked a bullet train. It turns out that on that bullet train was Bruce Wayne, a secret high value prisoner of the Magistrate. And with Talia's help, Bruce was freed. But it turns out that this is happening along the same time as the Catwoman miniseries, and so it was in fact Dick who sent Talia to help with that and arranged for everything. But his vision is only he has to go out as Batman. So Talia is sent on her mission. Bruce is rescued, and him and Talia go to go find Damian. Now, another plot point is that Hush has been secretly manipulating quite a few bits of Gotham, releasing the Warmonger, and then consolidating, using the next Joker to consolidate the old money in the mob and all the crooked cops under his command. So, but he explains his grand plan was in motion. And, but that plan still requires one vital component. Some of the old Gotham criminals: Clayface, Killer Croc, Two-Face, Penguin, Zsasz, Copperhead, Scarecrow. The only one who seems to think there's a good point being made is Clayface, though Croc promptly tells him to let the grown-ups talk. Two-Face is at least willing to hear him out. When Nightwing shows up, as Batman, using the visions he's been getting to make the fight go very quickly. Croc punches Zsasz. Scarecrow pumps Croc full of fear toxin, leaving Croc losing control. But Dick realizes quickly that he's not ready for this fight, so he leaves. Meanwhile, Bruce and Talia arrive on Lazarus Island. Apparently, that's where Talia's investigations had led her. They'd find Robin's Batwing, but it looks like it had been there for a while. They go into the main temple. There are booby traps set. They make their way through them, and they find something that apparently Damian kept undisturbed. Or rather, someone. The angel Zariel. Now, Zariel was a part of the Justice League years ago. And Zariel explains that after it was believed that Batman was dead, Magistrate used both technology and magic to conceal the truth. Since Robin was trapped outside of Gotham when the Magistrate took full control of the city, Damian believed Bruce to truly be dead and set about finding him in the afterlife. He discovered a way to contact Zariel in heaven, summoned him forth, and Zariel's only able to say that, tell him Bruce isn't in heaven. So Damian said, okay, fine, send me to hell, I'll find him there. Which is where Damian went. But Zariel also explains to Batman that while he was trapped in the temple for years, he was gifted with a dark. He was gifted with a dark prophecy. Apparently, Damien's fate was sealed the moment that Zardel was freed. Damien returned to Gotham, and upon his return, Gotham will be doomed. In Crime Alley, a portal opens, and Grifter steps out. Well, Grifter's spirit, but he's getting someone out of hell. Damian Wayne, now calling himself Batman 666, which is interesting that the future state is going to kind of tie in with the Batman 666 timeline. But I guess that kind of makes some sense, given what we've seen from said timeline. So it can work. So, and that is where the issue ends. Interesting to note that this is, I think, the first issue that we've had of Future State Gotham that did not have a reprinted black and white backup story. So that's kind of nice. It's nice to actually buy a whole new comic as opposed to, three-quarters of a new comic. Anyway, moving on to our last book for the moment, we've got Suicide Squad, Get Joker, number 3. Finally. Yeah, the last issue of this came out the beginning of September last year. The second issue came out in September. It's been a minute. Anyway, where we left off, Amanda Waller had been attacked by the Joker, and the Joker took the device used to control the bombs that Waller uses to control the Squad. The Squad went after the Joker, decided to continue on their mission, and it was just going to be a lot harder because it would basically be akin to going after a more chaotic Waller. However, as things heated up, another Task Force X team showed up and started going after Red Hood and his Suicide Squad. But these new arrivals shoot the place up, going after Red Hood's squad and anyone else who happens to be in the line of fire. Red Hood is informed that Waller is alive, but in a coma, and the current director of the organization, well, he sent a new squad out after Jason Todd's squad because they're compromised. But Jason's squad is saved by the most unlikely of saviors, Joker. But they interrogate Firefly. But then they're hit with a gas attack as the backup squad shows up. But they manage to escape. As they're leaving, Plastique asks what they're going to do, and Red Hood says, "Well, you seem to have you seem to always have the answers. So what would you do?" As she's responding, though, she's shot, and as she's dying, she suggests that Jason's Suicide Squad team throw her body at the team coming after him. She charges up her explosive powers and is then thrown at them and blows up the pursuit. Joker takes the squad to one of his hideouts. Harley refuses to go in, and says that none of them should either. And that's where Toyman is, and apparently the bomb's been removed from his skull by Joker, and apparently there's some just random stray kids that have been hanging out there, and Joker just kind of taking care of them. It's like he lets them just kind of run around the amusement park in clown makeup. Red Hood fights Pebbles to get the device, and Pebbles gets stomped on. Only stomping on the device didn't set up any of the bombs. But they appear to be, they're still alive, but the other squad tracked them down. Pebbles is shot to pieces thanks to armor-piercing rounds. A Meta is sucking the blood out of Wild Dog's body. And Joker's Child Army goes to stop the squad. And it ends about as well as you expect it to. Waller comes out of her coma, calls Jason Todd, basically saying, if you don't kill Joker, I guarantee I'll kill you. But, of course, the squad's falling apart. Harley comes in and saves Jason's ass, and but it's now just down to Harley, Jason, and Joker. Joker's sitting on the beach at sunrise, and Jason suggested he and Harley go and finish him off, but Harley says she can't, because if Joker starts talking, well, he knows the right words. And Joker and Jason talk. Joker knows that Jason's there to kill him. The gun he's got has one bullet. The last three panels, close up on Harley with a tear running down her face as a gunshot is off in the distance, and the squad coming up on her, and the sunrise, and that is where the series ends. I have to admit, I like the ambiguity. The ambiguity of the ending is kind of neat. It's very on brand for Azzarello. If you'll recall, those of you who may have watched my 100 Bullets retro reviews, Azzarello wrote 100 Bullets. So, and there were a lot. There's a lot of unambiguous moments. There's also the very end, still fairly ambiguous. So I'm not surprised that we're not clear as to who got shot, as Joker did have a gun too. So yeah, but anyway, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.